I guess we'll just get started. We don't have a quorum, so no minutes to approve. We'll just get right into business then. Corey finished the flyers. We wanted to have everybody look at these. We'll just pass them down. And just look at it and pass it down, critique it, tell us what you think. Really nothing to vote in saying we approve that as the official flyer, but we want to print off a bunch and just drop them off places. Corey wanted ideas from everybody of where we could drop off these flyers at, where we can hang them up, and just ideas to get them out. Anybody have ideas?
Well, on campus, I would assume that would be my first thoughts. Put them in the cub, put them in the queue.
I can put some outside my office. You know, I have a lot of people come up down the hall there.
Is that at the high school? Is that where you're at?
No, I'm in central office. We have quite a few people come in and out of there. I mean, I could throw 10 there or something and keep an eye on them.
It sounds like we just might want to bring in the stack to the next meeting and pass them out, let people drop them off wherever they see fit.
Certainly we'll put them downstairs, or, I mean, at the police department with.
Do we want to? There's a bulletin board in the mall over in Moscow for community events. Do we want to hang one up there? I know it's Moscow, but it's still the mall for both towns, really.
Yeah.
You don't live
Sure.
in Moscow.
Put them in those laundromats.
Do you live in Moscow? Or?
I'm over there every day. I can drop it off.
There's places where you can stick stuff up on the bulletin boards and the laundromats down by the old liquor store, and then there's one down by Cougar Country.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people show up there.
What about the library? Doesn't the library
The library.
have a board or something?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Neil Public, yeah.
Good place.
I got a pretty good list here. We'll bring a lot of flyers to the next meeting, and we'll pass them out, and we'll make sure all these spots are assigned, and everybody else can have just like 10 to put where they want or something.
Okay.
All right. Another thing we wanted to talk about was future meeting agendas. We really liked last month, specifically when the chief gave his presentation. We want to try to do more stuff like that, either more presentations, more guests. Anybody have any ideas?
Well, one suggestion might be our taser electronic devices. We'd have the officer that provides training to our staff on those devices come in and give a demonstration and explain how the devices work, and
That'd be interesting.
demonstration, you can take that however you want, but explain how they work and in what circumstances we would use them, and so that might be an interesting.
I would normally not hesitate to offer myself to be tasered, but we are being filmed, so. That's
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I think that's a good idea, yeah. I think Corey might have had a few ideas as well, but she's not here right now to discuss them, so I'll talk with her and we'll see what we want to do. I guess that moves on to the police department update. All right.
So last meeting I mentioned that after the 2016 budget was finalized, we already were told that we would have to cut from the 2016 budget, and so I had a meeting with the mayor and city supervisor, and so our total budget in the police department is about $6.5 million, and we have proposed cuts of about $202,000, and just over $100,000 of that is the information services technician position that we are holding vacant in the police department, that we are now getting our information services support from the city positions, and then we're going to evaluate to see whether to just keep that position vacant in the future and be supported by the city IT staff, or whether we need to refill that position again next year. So that was really the bulk of it, and then just various costs throughout different parts of the organization. Some of it was overtime that we cut, that we felt we could still manage and cut some overtime in different areas. And then nothing really substantial in any other area. So that's the budget cuts.
That's $6.5 million over 1 year.
Yes. And for the exact percentage, it's in the neighborhood of about 75% or so as personnel costs for salary and benefits, which is fairly typical for a budget with personnel. I was invited to attend the Pullman Chamber's Government Affairs meetings. They, I don't know how often they had been having them. I think they have them at least once a month, and then more often during the time the legislature's in session. And so I've attended 2 meetings so far, and so I've had the opportunity, and what happens is there's a group that the chamber includes that have an interest in certain, in fact, Dan attends, and Paul Sturm from the school district, and Bob Maxwell, and other people in the community attend that have an interest in legislation. And so I've had an opportunity to provide my input to our representatives, Mark Sessler, Joe Schmick, and Mary Dye, on the public records reform. It's a House bill, public records reform for local government, and then there's also a House bill that is for video and sound recordings, which is essentially body cameras. And so those are still active bills, and I'll have an opportunity to continue to go to those meetings and provide my input. Do you have anything to add to that, Dan?
No, but it is a good opportunity. I mean, it's nice what a dozen people that have interest or so meet, and I think it's every other Friday during legislation, and can be in contact with our 3 representatives from Olympia by phone. So it's really a nice, worthwhile effort.
Yeah, and it's nice because, you know, I know we all contact them individually, but I think it has a greater weight when we're all collectively in the room and we're on a conference call with them. They know that we're all there, and the mayor's there, and the chamber president's there, and the city supervisor's there. So I think it's very beneficial. On January 20th was our DARE graduation, where we had the combined 5th graders have a graduation ceremony at Lincoln Middle School. And this year, Butch was a surprise guest, and the kids really liked that a lot. And really, I think it added a lot to the event. So that was it's always a really good event. On February 2nd, there was a council meeting where some staff awards were presented by American Legion. Every year, the American Legion presents a Law Enforcement Officer of the Year and a Firefighter of the Year, and then there's other awards that are available. And so some of our staff received awards. We nominated Sergeant Jake Opgennorth for Law Enforcement Officer of the Year. He was the supervisor and detectives this last year, and there were a few high-profile and difficult cases that he had the responsibility for overseeing. And so we felt he deserved that, and so they awarded him that. And then there's a humanitarian award, and that was given to Officers Michael Crow and Aaron Brashears, and they were the 2 lead cars in the pursuit of the homicide suspect from Moscow. And essentially that American Legion felt that was deserving of that award because of their judgment and decision-making during that pursuit, not to engage the suspect in the downtown area where he was first seen, and let him travel out of town before they attempted to stop him. And then also record specialist Josh Sanders received a life-saving award, which for the same event that he was presented here during the Police Advisory Committee meeting. Coming up this Friday, I was invited to speak at a Washington State University class on violence toward women, and they want to hear what is involved with a sexual assault investigation from the police perspective and what resources are available and how we would interact with students and victims. On February 16th and 17th, I was invited to attend what's called a Digital Policing Summit. The group that's putting it on is Financial Research Associates, and they asked me to come and speak at the conference to talk about our grant experience with the Smart Policing Initiative grant, and to kind of walk them through the application process and everything that we did prior to the grant, how we implemented the grant, and how we're sustaining the grant after the grant funds have run out. And there's a number of other police departments that will have representatives there speaking on similar topics, LAPD, Atlanta PD, Austin PD, Miami Beach PD. February 20th is our donkey basketball fundraising event at Gladish. Darby and Ashley are working on putting together our auction items, and we've got a number of really good auction items already. And so it sounds like there's a lot of people that are interested in this event. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So we have it up on our Facebook page. So if you could pass the word.
And we'll be riding real donkeys. Some people did not know that meant real donkeys. There will be real donkeys.
10 real donkeys?
We'll be riding real donkeys.
What time?
Just to be
what
clear.
time was that again?
It's on the 20th at noon.
At 1
o'clock.
o'clock, yeah.
1 o'clock. At the Gladish Gym. On March 2nd, the WSU Interfraternity Council is going to be holding a forum called Bridging Gaps in the Cub Junior Ballroom. They asked me to participate in the panel, and they're asking WSU administrators and other community leaders to participate, and what they're looking for is input from non-Greek community about expectations and concerns of the Greek community, such as noise complaints, alcohol, falls, and various and sundry other things that occur in the Greek area that Barbara can probably tell us in much more detail. So that's March 2nd. And I think that's all I have.
Well, it's an honor to be asked to present at the conference there, so way to go.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's some big cities being represented. Here comes Pullman, so that's an honor.
All right. I guess we'll go on to the constituencies poll. Start over there and go around. Tell us what area you represent.
Pioneer Hill, Richard Hume. I'm very pleased to hear the awards the various officers are getting. We should be very proud of this department. It's a real asset to the community. I see where on my hill where Planned Parenthood is reopening. I hope they have better security.
Well, I haven't seen it myself, but I've been told that they do have better surveillance equipment, and I know that they currently have a security guard assigned there also.
Great. Then one other thing. I'm a big animal rights advocate. I have grave reservations about donkey basketball. But okay.
They have weight limits and lots of rules about how you have to treat the donkeys.
I still don't like that. But okay.
I'm Dan Hornfelt. I represent Pullman School District Administration from the central office. I don't have anything really to report other than things are going well at the high school with our construction. We do have a bond and a maintenance and operations levy in front of the voters that concludes tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes tomorrow night. And things are going well. No real safety concerns. Buses transport kids safely. We always have some challenges there, but things are going well for Pullman School District, and halfway through the year, look forward to the rest of the year. So.
I'm Eric Tessoff, business alternate, and I don't have anything.
Matt Sutherland, College Hill alternate. It sounds like you guys did a pretty good job keeping everything safe over the weekend from my buddies on Creek Road and in the bar. So,
Business community, I got nothing to report.
And College Hill also, nothing to report, although it seems like I've a couple of times run into articles in national publications about police departments trying body-worn cameras. And I feel really proud that we have done this for a while now, that we had such a good experience with it. I just think that's impressive, Gary.
Thanks. Yeah, I think we're well ahead of the curve on that, and there's a lot of discussion on departments considering different things that we're well past. So, yeah, we're in a good position. Thanks.
I think they're using you guys as the example, probably, of what to do in some of those cases, or how to implement them. Adam Williams, Sunnyside Hill alternate. Sorry about being late. I don't really have anything to report. I did see in the police log that there was a incident on my street of teen kids smoking marijuana and then running away by the time the police got there. But it's about as exciting as it gets.
You know, I will mention that we did have a shooting last night. If you haven't seen the press release, on Fisk Street, which is a mobile home park, right above Guy Street and off of, I think, Cleveland and up in that area. And two men got into an argument, and one shot the other one in the face. And officers arrived and contacted the suspect first. The victim had run off, and then the victim came back, so he was in good enough shape to be on his feet and talking, and so he was transported to the hospital and then to Pullman Regional, and then transferred to Spokane Hospital for further treatment, and the shooter was arrested. And it doesn't appear to be life-threatening injuries at this point, and the person was arrested for felony assault. So the detectives are working on that case right now. It looks like a pretty open and shut case, not a whole much more to work on other than finish processing the crime scene and finish with interviews.
Was that like in a house or just out on the street?
It was outside of one of the mobile homes there.
All right.
I actually had a question. I was talking to some people. One of the tactics that some police departments have been using to make more positive impact is like making like positive impact stops. I was wondering if we had anything like that going on.
Well, you know, I'm not sure if this is what you're talking about, but I've seen some departments, they will like give something to someone for doing something right or something. Then, you know, like we have for kids on bikes, when we find them wearing a helmet, we have that event. The problem with, I suppose there's some circumstances that can be done, but the problem with that overall is that we don't have a lawful right to detain someone unless they've committed some type of violation. So it could domino into a lot of different issues with attempting to detain someone without a lawful authority to do that. So it would have to be some type of a contact where you're already in contact with them for some other reason.
Okay, interesting.
Speaking of positive impact things, I'm not sure that I can attribute this to our beat cop, but last week young woman neighbor that I hadn't known, we do know some of them, came over and said, okay, it's her 21st birthday today. We're having a big party. We just want to warn you, I'll leave you my phone number, so if we get loud, call me, because I'm going to be the sober person, and we promise to cut it off at 11. And I said, perfect. No problem, and it was no problem. But, you know, that warning of talk to your neighbors, at least is getting through to some people.
Good. Yeah, Shane definitely does a good job giving advice, you know, I mean, you know, his advice isn't, you know, don't do something, you know, it's, you know, do it in a safe way that's respectful to others, and let us work with you to have a good time, so.
Well, that's everything we had on the agenda today, so. There's no quorum, so we don't need a vote to end the meeting, so it's over.